Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about books and reading. So if that's your jam, definitely keep watching. As you can tell, the background is different than my normal videos. Today we are in my bedroom. Welcome. In my room because my boyfriend is in the living room playing video games and I don't want his friends to hear me making this video, and I don't want you guys to hear him and his friends. As you can tell, I'm very relaxed, just drinking my coffee. So this video is going to be about the 3 different reading challenges that I have been doing for this year, and then also the books that I'm reading for those challenges. When I was little, I used to read a lot of books. I used to be reading books all of the time. My favorite series were the Goosebumps, Ginny B. Jones. Those were my favorite books. And as I get older, I noticed that I stopped reading like just for fun. And then when I was in college for a few years, don't think I read too much. I only really read like college textbooks, which sucks because I really enjoy reading books. And it feels like I sort of always forget that until I actually start reading a book and I get stuck into it. When I was making my 2020 vision board, I put down as one of my goals to read more. But instead of just putting like read more on the vision board, I wanted to have sort of like a plan or kind of like a guideline to help me follow through with the goal. Because if I had just put read more, that doesn't really like motivate me too much. So what I did was I decided to choose 3 different reading challenges. They're all monthly challenges to kind of push me and motivate to read. I didn't only want to choose one reading challenge because one reading challenge only means 1 book a month, and I wanted to do more than that. I know I can do more than that, so I chose 3 different ones. And again, I got the challenges off of Instagram, so I'll start by explaining those 3 different ones. And you can probably honestly see it on my vision board. It's right there, and those 3 are all on there. So the first reading challenge that you see is M. Judson's reading challenge. I believe it's a bookstore or the person that owns the bookstore. I will include the full challenge either right here or right here. I always get confused which way, but anyways, I'll include it there. And then the second challenge is the Moon Challenge. This one is not really a monthly challenge because it's not organized by months, but it just has a big list of categories for books. And what I've done is I really like the categories, so I just put it into monthly. Right now I'm only doing 1 for the moon, but I think I'm going to start doubling it because as you can see, there are more than 12 categories for the 12 months. So I think I'm gonna have to start doubling it, but for now I am only doing 1. Then the third challenge is the Unread Shelves Challenge, which again has their own Instagram, and that's where I got the challenge from. So like I said, I started these 3 challenges at the beginning of this year. January and February were kind of a bust. I didn't really follow through with all of them. I only read 1 book for January and then 1 book for February. So I started off really slow for the challenge. And then last month in March, I successfully completed all 3 challenges. And that is the month that I want to go over. As you saw for the month of March, the challenge for the Unread Shelf Challenge was to read the book that has been on my unread shelf for the longest. And for this challenge, I read the book Tale of Bali. For the second challenge, which was the Moon Challenge, it was to read a book of essays. And for that, I read Shane Dawson's It Gets Worse. For the third challenge, which was M. Judson's challenge, it was to read a book that someone else recommended to me. And for that book, I read Some Boys by Patty Blount. Now that you know what the challenges were and what books were, I kind of want to go into a little bit about each book. Again, the first book, Tale of Bali, is a fiction. It takes place, of course, in Bali over 100 years ago. It is about the communities and different people that live in Bali when something happens that kind of begins the colonization or settlement for them by the Dutch people. I've actually tried to read this book a few times, and obviously I wasn't successful before. It was honestly because for the longest time I couldn't get past the first chapter because it starts off almost like a history book where it's really just giving the facts. So I kind of just always gave up on it. But this time I actually set a certain amount of pages that I wanted to read each day, so I wouldn't let myself give up on it. Reading it this time around, I really got to understand a lot more. Not only does the book talk about, like, again, the different cultures of the different people, the traditions, the belief system, how they used to make their money, how they used to trade, how the households were ran. It wasn't only that part of the book that was interesting, but it was also interesting because it had a lot of twists and drama and had a lot about relationships and how everyone was connected to each other. So it was a lot more interesting than the first couple times that I tried to read it. I think for some books, you kind of have to wait sometimes to read it to really appreciate and understand it. And I'll be honest, the reason that I purchased this book, I don't even remember where I got it from, but I remember I chose this book because of the way that it looked. Totally judged it by its cover. Because as you can see, it's an orange book and the binding is really, really pretty. And on top it's orange. And I don't know if you can see, but like the pages are super cool. And it just looks like a really cool book, so that's why I got it. But anyways, it's a really, really cool book, and I actually definitely recommend it, not just because it looks really pretty. So the second book was, again, Shane Dawson's collection of essays, It Gets Worse. I really, really enjoyed this book as well. If you don't know who Shane Dawson is, that's kind of weird because you're on YouTube, and Shane is like one of the originals. He's one of the OGs of YouTube. So if you haven't heard of him, you should definitely check him out. This book is about Shane Dawson's childhood and also growing up, about a lot of the things that he went through and a lot of the things that he learned. Things like getting bullied, some just really funny stories. He has a specific sense of humor, and if you know him, he is really a quirky but really honest kind of person, and this book is 100% his personality. And the one thing that's really cool about it is before each chapter there is like a cover and art that was made by one of his fans. So there's a bunch of his fan work in the book. Oh, my boyfriend actually got me this book. He surprised me one day and that's the note he had in it. But anyways, it's really, really funny. I do have a favorite chapter in here, but I don't really want to share it because I don't want to ruin it. But the chapter that I'm talking about, my favorite chapter, really kind of highlights fate, if you will. If you believe in like the fate kind of thing, then you will probably love that chapter. And if you have read this book, you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so again, definitely recommend. And then the third book, again, is Some Boys by Patty Blounce, and it's this. And I also really, really enjoyed this book. This book takes place in high school. Of course, it's fiction, but it brings a lot of important things up and it talks about it, and it gives different perspectives, a lot of real life situations, things that happen every day, like bullying, sexual assault, peer pressure, relationships, not even just partner relationships, but family relationships, friends relationships. Just it's basically about the toxic environment of high school. It shows two different perspectives about the same situation. You really have to put yourself in that person's shoe to really try to understand their perspective, and that's kind of what this book does. This book literally made me cry. It has made me so angry. I finished this book, I think, in like 2 days because it really just sucked me in. It's a really, really good book. I'm really glad that my roommate slash best friend's sister, fun fact, her name is also Shondine, so shout out to the Shondines. Anyways, it's a really good read. So those were the 3 books that I read for March's reading challenges. I, of course, recommend all of them. I really loved all of those 3 books for different reasons, each for different reasons. They are completely different from each other, but yet I still loved all of them. So how I'm keeping track of my reading challenges is actually in my Bujo, which is short for bullet journal, which I will show you right now. So as you can see, this was for the month of March. So I have my title, reading challenges, and then I have the 3 sections for the 3 different challenges. And then with each name of the challenge is what the challenge actually is. Then underneath in the blue is the name of the book that is going to fulfill that challenge. So because I read all 3 books for all 3 challenges, I had a green check mark next to each one. And I'll give a quick sneak peek to how I set up my April's tracker. So it looks different. I cleaned it up and improved it a little bit, but I am not going to show it for much longer because we'll go over this next month. To wrap this video up, so far this year I have read 6 books. 1 for January, 1 for February, 3 for March, and 1 for April so far. That's 6 books. Apparently I don't know how to count. That's probably more than half or even more in total of books that I read last year. I don't know how many books I read last year. It wasn't that many, honestly. I don't even remember what books I read last year. Doing these reading challenges has really helped me and pushed me to get back into reading. So if reading more was one of your goals, I think that choosing a reading challenge would definitely help you, as it's helped me. Thank you so much for making this far if you did. I know reading and books is not going to be everyone's favorite topic, but it's something that I really enjoy, so I'm going to continue making monthly updates for the reading challenges each month on here. And before you leave the video, comment down below if you are reading any books, if you're doing any reading challenges, or even what your favorite book is. I would love to know all of those because I love to learn about new books and put them on my wish list on thrift books and try not to buy them all. Or also, if you started reading more because of the stay at home order because of the quarantine. Basically, if you just want to comment anything about books, do it. I would love to talk about books. Anyways, that's it for this video. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in next month's video for April's reading challenge review.